Hello. Welcome to another episode. I'm gonna call it Building Web 5. We haven't titled the stream or anything. So welcome to Building with Web 5. I'm Rizel and this is Ace. I don't know if you want to do the second intro or anything.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back.
Good to be back. Super happy to see people already tuned in. Hey, Learner 0418, and also hey to Mani. What we've been doing on these Twitch streams lately is we've essentially just been exploring Web 5 since me and Ace have been fairly new. I think it's my 6th week, and maybe it's is it your 8th
Second
week?
month.
Second month. Okay, yeah. So we dipped our toes in all things TBD and Web 5, but we also want to bring in other perspectives and talk to people who are building Web 5. So I'm super excited to bring on Anthony today. I'll just add him to the stage. Anthony has been building this awesome project with Web 5, and I was like, yo, you need to show this to more people. So super excited to have him. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Awesome. Do you mind if you just introduce yourself, whatever you want to share, whether it's what things you're passionate about or I don't know, something you want to share.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Anthony D'Amatos. I grew up in New York, about an hour north of the city, and now I live in Washington, D.C. I work for a startup that's focused on it's a digital twin startup for buildings, so trying to reduce their energy and improve operations. I love basketball. That's probably my favorite hobby, and then building things on Web5 and other platforms is other hobbies as well.
What basketball team do you support?
I'm a big college basketball fan, so I'm a Duke fan.
Nice. Oh, nice. You don't follow the NBA?
No, I do. I do follow the NBA, but I more so follow the Duke basketball players that are in the NBA.
Oh, I get you. That makes sense. That is cool. Thank you for joining us. How do we begin?
Yeah. No. Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
No, just go ahead.
Okay. Cool. I was thinking about basketball, so what I could say, but I'm I don't know anything about basketball. I just repeat anything I hear people say. I'm like Celtics, Lakers, I don't know. But
yeah, I was trying to remember which players I know went to Duke. I think the first one that came to mind was Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie.
Yeah. I wasn't sure, but yeah. Nice one.
Love it. Love to see it. I'm curious. So you work at you said you called it a digital twin. Is that what it is?
Right. For buildings.
Cool. How did you get into before we jump into your demo? I definitely want to learn more about you and what you're up to. How did you become a software engineer? What attracted you to all of that?
So I went to college in High Point, North Carolina, High Point University, and I took a computer science intro course. I came in undeclared, but then I just started taking the computer science courses, and I liked the first one, so I took the next one, and then I just kind of kept taking them, and I made a really good relationship with my professors, and then I just kind of fell in love with it. My favorite class was probably the mobile app development, writing in Swift and building a mobile app. So that's where I kind of found a love for it all.
I love that. It's so easy to fall in love with coding. I wish so I went to a coding boot camp in college. I wish my college had more applicable classes, like how you did the mobile app development. My college was very theoretical. It was data structures, discrete math. I'm this is cool.
Mine was the same thing too. And actually where I learned the most is I did this undergraduate research project where I had this goal of building an app that could find the parking spaces. So High Point University, there wasn't too much parking lots in the center. They were all kind of around. So the ones in the center were really small. So it was hard to find a space. So I had this dream of pulling up an app and just seeing which spaces are open and then going to it. So that was my, for 2 years, I was building an app that used machine learning cameras to look at the spaces and then show it on a mobile application. So that's where I learned.
Did you launch it?
What's that?
Did you launch the app?
No, it was just it was more research, but I did get it to work for about 100 spaces with one camera. We put one camera above our computer science building that looked down at the parking lot, and I was able to get it to work for that space, as a research project, not enough to scale it up to the whole.
That is so cool.
That's mad cool and useful because I'm when you're in college, you try to find a parking spot, it's annoying, and they make
Yeah,
you
it's rough.
Okay, so what attracted you to so I get your journey into software engineering, you kind of like discovered that your love for it in college. But when did you get interested in decentralized identity? This for me is my first foray into it. It's really like 6 weeks of me just learning a lot about it. But what attracted you to it?
Yeah, so I started programming in like the whole Web3 space with like smart contracts, and I was doing like tutorials on how to build applications on top of Web3 with smart contracts and things like that. But it didn't like the applications were hard to create because like with smart contracts, every time you write to the blockchain, you have to pay a fee. So like building an Instagram on the blockchain doesn't make sense if you're gonna, and you don't want everything, all your pictures to live on the blockchain either. So then like I started getting away from that because it didn't seem to make much sense for like application scale. Like obviously there's a place for blockchain, like signing something onto the blockchain and transferring digital currencies, especially like Bitcoin and things like that. But building entire applications on it didn't seem to make too much sense. And then like I saw that Jack Dorsey had tweeted the whole Web5 slideshow and PowerPoint, and then I like dove deep into that, and it seemed like a much better way to build decentralized applications where users can actually store their information and then go to each app that they then interact with. So then I just joined the Discord immediately, and then was just kind of following it the whole way.
That is cool.
I
I missed the first tweet, but I've gotten a lot of people that just reference that as their origin point. Like, oh, seeing this conversation, the tweet announcement from was from Jack, and just being able to dive in and seeing the differences between like Web5, of course, and Web3. For us, like, as developer advocate at TBD, one of the common questions is like, why not Web4? We're not even done Web3. Why are you doing Web5? What are these kind of questions, right? So it's nice to also like hear your perspective as someone that was building stuff already in Web3 and then seeing, okay, this is how this solution is proposing a different approach or this unique approach to actually solve some of the problems that we want to address. And I think that's amazing.
And I think there's still a place for Web3, but I think there's also a place for this Web5 decentralized as well.
Awesome. I agree.
Yeah, I think our company agrees. We're definitely not trying to like replace it. We're like, there's space for all of them in the space. And I also have a follow-up question. This is going to be a dumb question about Web3 since I don't know about it. You said you have to pay for like your app doing smart contracts. Does the developer have to pay or the user?
So both, like anytime you write to the blockchain, you have to pay a transaction fee. So like
Gas fees.
yeah, gas fees. Like when I upload my smart contract, I as a developer would pay a fee. And then as users interact with that smart contract, they'll pay a fee. Because it's removing the middleman. So it's like
Because the middleman would usually be the one paying those costs.
yeah, like he would be the central authority paying to host all of it. But now that you're removing the middleman, you pay for that, like someone to validate the transaction to the chain.
Interesting. Okay. And I can see how, like you said, there's situations where that's feasible, but it does feel a little inaccessible for different people. It's like, oh, you can't use my app if you don't have the funds for it.
Right. Like it makes sense if I want to like send you $1,000 and I don't want to go through a bank or a middleman. I'll pay a small fee for someone to verify that transaction. But if I just want to post a picture on an application, I don't really want to have to pay for that.
And there is, oh, you clicked it already, Ace. There is that comment that I guess is like specifying or clarifying that not all of them, some have a reverse fee model. Interesting. Okay. All right, moving to the next question. Now that I like understand what attracted you to decentralized identity, I kind of want to see I wanted you to describe your project before we see it. I guess like what is your project? Like what technologies did you use to build it? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. You could maybe say that it falls under like the identity wallet space, but it's really like an application for your digital self, like everything about you digitally, being able to store it in one place and then move it with you wherever you choose. So like starting with a decentralized identifier and then being able to store all of your data inside of it and then eventually being able to move to other applications and interact with them as well. Like have all your data in one place and then be able to bring it with you as you move around the internet.
Awesome. Let's see your demo. Let's see what it looks like. I'm excited. And pull it up in a second.
So I'll just launch it on. I'll create a new incognito tab.
Okay.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, I am.
So right now the application is loading and it's setting up that decentralized identifier and the decentralized web node in the browser for me. And now it just says like create your digital profile. So then I could choose like a profile image. So just a picture of myself, enter my name, and then launch the application. So now we're inside of here. So now my decentralized identifier is set up and my decentralized web node is also set up. So I could store anything in this storage. So now I could store some, I actually downloaded the decentralized identity specification document this morning. So I can upload this. And now when I uploaded that, it uploaded it to my web node, but it also took all the metadata from the file and uploaded it to a vector database so that I can interact with it. So now I could like ask instead of reading this whole specification document, I could say like, use this document and write a summary of why DIDs are important. And now it's using the metadata that I took out of this document, and I can kind of chat with it in this interface.
Quick question. Sorry, before you go ahead, when you say the metadata, like what range, like what kind of data are you talking about in this case with the metadata?
So basically I'm using like a PDF parser that parses all the information out into like JSON documents. And then so it's literally like, it's essentially like scanning it to get all of the paragraphs into different sections. So it's not just the metadata, but it's all the data of the document. And then I'm storing it as well.
I see. So basically you store the content in should I say serialized or in a more like processed format, and then that goes into the vectors itself. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Because I was like, what metadata would provide so much information for the AI in that quick instant?
Yeah, metadata is probably not the right word. It's
okay.
It's essentially taking all of the data of the document and then
gotcha.
I'm creating those vector embeddings and then storing it in the vector database.
Well, why did you choose to go with the vectors though? Like how does that come into play?
I had to go with that in order to have kind of this chat interface with it. So the AI could kind of quickly search over the document so that you could kind of chat with it and have things like that. Because I see like everything's going to this AI space where everything that you do digitally will have some type of intelligence interface aspect to it. So I want to kind of bring some of that into this decentralized identity space. I'm not sure that I have it fully figured out yet, but that's kind of my goal.
No, that was a good choice, I think. Like you said, like that's where a lot of technologies are going. And I feel like everyone's like, oh, it's using AI. I'm gonna try it out. So I really like that. Ace was gonna say something, and then I'll ask another question that I had afterwards.
Yeah, I was actually gonna backtrack a little bit. Like, what are vectors? Because they're a little bit different from.
I was gonna ask that.
Like, so we know DIDs, DWNs, and your app, like the app is doing that. We know the AI assistant part, but like, what are vectors? Where do you get them? Where are they coming from, and stuff like that?
Yeah. So a vector is essentially an array of numbers. So it's like a structure of numbers. You could think of it basically as like 1, 2, 3, but then you can also turn words into vectors. So this paragraph, you can take this paragraph and turn it into a vector of numbers, and that vector of numbers represents the meaning of those words. So then you store those vectors inside a vector database, and then you could easily search over it. You could have the AI search over it with meaning. And it essentially creates this in the vector database. It's like, for lack of a better word, a vector space, but it's essentially a cluster of information. So like all information in the vector database about decentralized identity would be in this one space. All information about basketball would be in this one vector space over here. It's kind of similar to how like the brain kind of works. Like it puts all the information inside of this vector space and relates the information to each other. So then it's really fast to query this information based on like what you're looking for, and like you could just ask questions to it.
I have a question there's a question in the chat, but before I ask that one, which like vector database tool are you using? I've heard of like Llama. I've heard of like, I think my friend used to work at a place called like HardX Human Signal or something like that. Which one are you using?
So I'm using Chroma DB. It's an
Ooh,
open source vector database. So
okay.
this is the one that I chose to use.
Okay, cool. All right, questions in the chat. One is from CSU Wildcat in the Discord, and he's asking, are you storing the conversations with the AI and the DAWN? I think that's a really good question because we know you're storing like the PDF in there, but what's happening with the AI conversations?
I'm not storing them now, but I would love to store them both in the DWN and also in the vector database so that like your AI assistant has a long-term memory of all your conversations and everything that you've kind of talked with it. So like it's kind of just like that intelligent person, but that intelligent person remembers everything that you've discussed.
Love that. And then we have a comment from Hamlet, I guess just adding on to vector databases, saying like vector databases, graph database, relational databases, and they're just commenting on all of them. I thought he was like expanding on it. Thank you, Hamlet. My bad. I didn't like read it before I said it out loud. Okay, my other question too is like, this is really cool because I feel like it adds like visualization to the decentralized web node. Like you can actually see what's being stored like in a UI, and then you get that AI portion. But like what really inspired you to build this? Like you just sat down and you were like, yo, I want to build this, or like something was like, I don't know.
I knew I wanted to build something for Web5 just because I love the idea of it so much. And like I love to tinker with new technologies. And that's really how I learn a lot about them and how they work, is just kind of by building something with them. So this is kind of what I came up with so far. And I want to keep building on top of it as well.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about where you want to take this to. But before that, I'm curious as to like what features of Web5 specifically came in like really handy for this project, and like where did you find perhaps some limitations or maybe features that could have been helpful but are not currently available and stuff like that.
You mean like which features of Web5 did I leverage for this?
Yes, and which ones were like, oh, I wish this was available yet, so I could have solved down that problem or used in a different way, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I definitely have like the two biggest ones right now are the decentralized web node and the DIDs, and then being able to store all the files and the blobs of those files in the decentralized web node themselves. I haven't seen too many limitations with that thus far. Besides that, I'm not sure what else to touch on there.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's fair. We're glad it's working out.
Yeah.
I was curious. And also people in the chat. Oh, you want to stop sharing? People in the chat, feel free to like add your questions or comments in so we can go ahead and ask Anthony more, anything you're curious about. But I'm curious, like, where do you want to take your project next? Like, what's the next step? Is this like the final? I think you said you wanted to store the AI conversation, but anything else?
Yeah, I want to create some protocol where you could store all your files in, but then you can share them with other individuals directly, and also like connect with other individuals. So you have your own profile, your own digital profile. I want to add like contacts to other people that you know through their DIDs. So it's like peer-to-peer connection, and then being able to share files with them. And then, yeah, that's the biggest upcoming thing that I wanted to get to. And then once the files is solid, moving into more of a messaging system. So like peer-to-peer messaging right from your decentralized web nodes.
I love it. It's giving Google Drive meets ChatGPT.
Sometimes I get bogged down. I'm like, I just feel like I'm building Google Drive, but like I have to know like the vision I have is like bigger than that. But like Google Drive is essentially a piece of it in the beginning, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're just rebuilding it. It's doing much more than that. It just reminds me of it a little. Go ahead.
Me too.
Go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, we have some exciting comments from questions rather from the chat. So I was gonna ask, how long have you been building this project? Hello, Corey.
How long have I been building it?
Yeah.
It's been a couple months now, and I've actually built it a couple different times. And it actually started with just like a simple Bitcoin wallet. And then like I competed in this AI for All hackathon, and it was all about combining Bitcoin and AI. And I use like decentralized web nodes in that as well. So it's probably been about like 5 months, but it's also like I've been tinkering around with Web5 since the first NPM version came out. So
That is cool. I think that kind of addresses the next question, which is around how have you had to pivot, if any? Because you mentioned you started off in a different route.
mhm.
Are there any other pivots along the line?
Yeah, and it's been hard to figure out like which way to go with the whole AI thing. Like at first I was running the LLM, the large language model locally in the browser and using this package from MLC AI, but like those models are just so limited. They're limited and they're slow, so it just made more sense for the user experience to use like an OpenAI, whose models are really powerful and can interact with all of that data. And then also like in terms of storing those vectors, like I was trying to figure out if I could like store them in the browser so that the user has them, but where it is now, it's like I'm storing it in that Chroma database.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I think we have a question from Discord again. What else can the wallet do? Can you be used to talk to TBDEX? Do you know TBDEX?
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
super excited for TVDex, and I would love for like the wallet to be able to interact with that. I would love for a place where you could go with like hopefully a non-custodial Bitcoin wallet to TBDex and switch from your bank to Bitcoin immediately.
Got it. Makes sense. One more question. We have a bunch actually. What about the DWN? I think it's related to the question I was asking if there were any features that could have been helpful for you. But like, what about the DWN would help you if you added unmodified features?
One feature that I don't know if it's possible, but seems like it would be pretty cool would be if you could store the vectors in the DWN and also search over them, like use vector searches so that like I wouldn't have to use Chroma. And like, because right now, essentially, there's the centralized database of Chroma that I use, and then there's also the decentralized web node, and they're kind of like work together. I would love if it would just be in the DW, and I'm not sure how possible that is.
Yeah,
I think that could be pretty cool.
that is interesting.
Oh, um, and I do want to just, people are loving it. Like Corey
Mhm.
said, like that's amazing progress for 5 months. I agree. Like to get all that done in 5 months is amazing. Ooh, I didn't mean to press that.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought for a second there, but I was gonna ask because you mentioned about protocols and like being able to set and share stuff already. I wanted to ask if you already use protocols in any capacity, or if it's just something you want to try out eventually.
I haven't used them yet, but it is something that I want to implement
Oh,
soon.
oh, awesome, awesome. Because I feel like you could do the sharing thing a little bit. Maybe not the vector side because that's centralized, like you mentioned, but like with the files, with the IDs and the DWNs, because that's already enabled. And I think the next for the next version that we're releasing in a bit, you can also add rows and all of that stuff. So that should be like very, very possible right now.
Yeah,
Additional features, I don't know about that yet, but I think we're close.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited to get into that for the sharing aspect, like
awesome.
secure file sharing.
Awesome. I think we have more questions. Um, yeah. Do you have any plans to incorporating Bitcoin and AI? Really did AI, but
Yeah,
go
for
ahead.
sure. I definitely want to incorporate Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. Again, I'm not fully certain on how to do this the best way. Like as of now, what I'm thinking as of now is I'm going to host my own Lightning node, Bitcoin Lightning node, and it would be kind of like a custodial wallet that people can use. But then I would also have the option for you to connect to your own Bitcoin Lightning node. So like make the user experience simple and easy for people to get set up and have a wallet that's easy to use, but then also like for more super users and advanced people who care about like security and things like that, allowing them to connect to their own Bitcoin nodes as well. And then like I think in the future, like as these AIs are traveling the web, they're gonna have to pay for information. Like when they want to go to look at New York Times, they're probably gonna have to pay a small fee to New York Times. So if Bitcoin could work for that, that'd be nice. I'm not sure what's gonna happen in that space, but I think something's gonna happen there eventually.
That is a good point because I feel like there's a lot of conversation starting out with like crawlers and AIs being able to provide access for people's website without any payment or any information. People losing out on revenue because of ads, and that's a very that sounds like a viable alternative to like address that concern in general.
Or even like my AI talking to your AI, like, and then they're both equipped with Bitcoin, and crazy stuff could happen. I'd see like,
Yeah, it's limitless. I think the next question would be, yeah, if you, I think from Gion, curious if they should think about the app as an identity slash store their own wallet or do financial transaction wallet or like just both.
I think of it more as like a digital agent, as TBD kind of describes it, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
all encompassing of everything that you can do digitally. Like taking like we can I myself as an individual am who I am in the real world. I can easily prove it to people, and kind of trying to take that into the digital realm. So kind of like all encompassing of your digital self. So like both your identity and financial. Like my initial tagline of Netonomy was like allowing users to own their digital identity, data, and finances.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Love that. I'm curious if people wanted to go ahead and contribute. I'm gonna put the repo link up here, and I'll also drop it in the channel. But what kinds of contributions are you looking for? Where do you want people to start thinking, and stuff like that? That will like most help you.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gonna actually write up a whole contributing like documentation and put that in that repository as well. So
Yeah.
that should be there soon. And I would love to like post some GitHub issues that people could go and tackle if they want to. And then just start making pull requests and contributing, and also joining the Discord. People can post their ideas and how they want to see the project move forward.
Awesome. Okay, so you're gonna keep it like open. You're gonna end up
Yeah,
asking.
it's definitely going to be open.
Yeah,
Open
I like that. I like that because it gives people an opportunity. I don't know if I like um prepped you for this, but I'm actually curious of if we could take a chance to look at like the Web5 portion of the code. I'm like curious how you
yeah,
like set that up. I'm just nosy.
yeah, no problem. So if we go into, so basically the code is structured. I have like the web front end and the server. So most
Can
of
you
the,
zoom in a bit? Sorry
Yeah,
to interrupt.
sorry. A little bit more. Okay,
Okay,
that's
perfect.
better.
is that good or more?
It's good.
All right. So most of the Web5 stuff is in the front end application. So we could go into the source, and then there's actually some hooks. So like use files. Here's what kind of manages all of the documents, like where I uploaded that spec of what a DID is. So here in use files, there's an upload files function, and then this basically uses the Web5 context and stores it in the DWN, and then it stores it with this nice JSON object with some metadata about the file. And then here's me uploading it to the Chroma side for the vector embeddings as well. And then here's the function to fetch the files. So just calling dwn.query with a filter message of getting all the schema.org digital documents, and then just storing those in an array. And then there's a function to delete files as well. And then I can also show that I wrap my application with this providers, and I wrap it with a Web5 provider. So in this Web5 provider, I'm just connecting to Web5 in their client, and then this sets up that DID and the decentralized web node. So then it's available to the whole React application that I'm using.
This
Perfect.
is lit. I love it. Yeah, I think I agree with Ace that I think protocols might be really helpful to you when you want to do like the sharing and who gets access to stuff. This is really exciting stuff. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think, wait, Ace, did you have any more questions?
No, I think I've asked a bunch.
No, keep asking them. I was gonna ask just like this is not necessarily related to your project, but as I'm in this role, I want to hear from other people within the industry on like how do they think that we can, like our entire industry can increase adoption of data sovereignty, because I just feel like maybe some people don't necessarily understand it. I'm not sure what's like the blocker, but I'm curious, like from your perspective, where do you think like we're falling short, and where do you think, like how do you think we can help with that? And even if you don't know, you can say, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where a lot, like I feel like today a lot of people don't even really care about that side of thing. Like they just like don't really care about their data. They don't care if anybody I mean, they care if someone steals it, but they don't care about giving it to these big tech platforms and having them kind of own and control it. But I think as time goes on and more alternatives with good user experiences come up and they can kind of see the differences, I think like as time goes on, like things will just happen where hopefully hopefully the narrative starts to shift that like this is something that has to happen. And I also think with like some organizations today have to store the data themselves. Like they can't use any third party software applications. And even if they do, like those applications need to run in their own private cloud. So like something like this could be really helpful for them as early adopters. And then like as they make people, like in theory, if they made people in their organization use a technology like DIDs to access the company's data, then maybe an application could also work for their own information as well, and then go on from there forth. And also things like verifiable credentials, I think, are a key factor to it. Like having credentials tied to you, like if you work for a company and they issue you a credential and then you start building up these credentials and building up your digital identity, that's where things can kind of get interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's like the different use cases that will help people. And like I was talking with Angie and just listening to people from TBD on like how verifiable credentials can help with like things like driver's license and stuff like that. Just things that'll make the user experience easier. Sounds exciting. And I could see from those other people's point of views, because at first they used to be like who cares? They have my data anyways. Like this is the way life is. But
Right.
you could see that life is a different way. Like life could be a different way. Yeah. Okay, so people joined in late and they want to just see you asking the AI a question and uploading something just
Sure.
again. But y'all, you could rewatch the stream. It will be there.
So last time I uploaded the DID spec. This time we could do the decentralized web node spec.
Okay.
So I'll upload it, it'll go through the process, and then I could actually go and talk to it. What's a question? Does someone have a question we should ask it?
Oh, let me see. Wait a minute. I'm not ready.
I
Oh.
wasn't ready for that myself.
Well, there was one person in here.
I could pull it together if not, but
One person in our Discord earlier was just asking, like, why is the message parameter? I don't know if this will be your AI will be able to answer this. Why is the message parameter needed if you already have a service endpoint? I don't know if that even makes sense, but
why is the message parameter needed if we
yeah,
already have a service endpoint?
yeah.
Not sure about this one, but we'll see what it does.
I don't know. I don't know if the message parameter and service. Okay, I feel like that worked.
Pretty good.
So like the service endpoint is the destination, and then the message is like delivering the details and instructions to it. That's perfect. I like awesome.
That is sweet.
Yeah. That's great.
Another one that I kind of like too is like I can upload my renter's insurance.
Ooh.
And then let's see, I have it somewhere. So like here, I'm uploading my renter's insurance, and then like maybe one day I forget and I have a bunch of files in here, and then I could just ask like, when does my renter's insurance expire? So then it could just easily give me the answer to that.
I love it. Now, oh, go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is amazing. So I wanted to ask a could be considered a stupid question, but just combining like the flow, and just wanted to be 100% sure. as you continue to like add more files to this, is the AI able to combine like information from multiple files to like provide a more detailed answer, like references and other stuff?
Yeah, for sure. It basically like in this view right now, it searches for information in all the documents. And then if I go to like look at a certain one, I have it just looking for information in this document.
Gotcha. So if you're in an open document, it only checks that document. But if you're like in your home page, for gotcha.
Yeah,
Well,
and
everybody was just asking the same thing actually.
maybe I should have it so it just always searches everything and then like points you to the right document if you need to. But I just wanted to like kind of make it focus on that one document if you're on it.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. Just as the answers to everything.
And eventually this, like right now, I'm only doing the embeddings of like PDFs, but eventually we'll get to like videos and audio, images, and then it'll understand all of that information and then you can kind of talk with it as well.
That would be amazing. How would it look like? I mean, you probably haven't thought about it, but like for videos, for example, how would that look like breaking down the content into like the vectors that the LLM wants to go through?
So I'm not fully sure on that, how it would break down the content, but yeah, that's something I would have to look into. But I know there is work being done for like vectorizing videos and things like that.
Probably transcription, maybe, but that does not work for like elements, the visual elements inside.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly. That's like layer, like the first step, you could just do transcription, then just
yeah,
text and then
gotcha,
upload it. But yeah, the next would be like actually looking at the video.
gotcha. That sounds cool.
This is so cool and useful. I do not like reading a whole bunch of big documents. So like if I could just get that for my like the title for my house and all that information, I'll just be typing in everything. Oh wow, we're almost at 12:53. I want to double check with you because I know you're like working. I don't want to go over time. Are you like you have a hard stop at 1 o'clock?
I can go a little bit over. It's all good.
I won't go too far. Ebony asks, do you want to get away from using vectors to make it fully decentralized?
I would love to figure out how to use vectors in a fully decentralized way, I think. Like if it was in the decentralized web node or even if it was like in the browser or something, but I haven't been able to figure out like a good user experience where it would just be in the browser and then also be able to like sync with your phone and things like that. So maybe if one day, like if it was a part of the DWN, that would be awesome. And also like, that's why I also have it open source. So like my hosted version of the application, my vector database would be centralized, but since it's open source, you also have the option to just go host your own.
Love that.
That makes sense.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to the non-technical questions. But before I do, anyone want to get any like last like comments or questions out? Because these have nothing to do with the project.
No, I think we've gone through a bunch.
Okay, cool.
Very exciting project.
Yeah, I love it. Great job, Anthony. Very excited. Yeah, just overall interesting, good work. All right, so we're moving into the portion where I just ask the guests fun random things about themselves. So my first question is, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food is probably spaghetti and meatballs. I'm an Italian, so
anything. Okay, for me, anything with like grain, sauce, and cheese, I'm here for it.
yeah,
So.
you have to.
I'm addicted to rice.
You're addicted to rice? No, rice is good.
Jollof rice, fried rice, smoked rice, baked rice.
Oh, I'm hungry. Okay. All right. Other question is, someone made a comment. This looks really complicated from a new front end developer. I don't know if it's super. I think you will get there. I don't know what this Ace thing.
Yeah, I think one way that this could be helpful is it JTech? I don't know how to pronounce the name. If you have any maybe one introductory like question that this is what's confusing for a start, like just answering that could like just help simplify this for you or for anyone else as the case maybe. But if you have anything that looks fuzzy, I think we'd love to like just answer that real quick. Question, yeah. But yeah, please go ahead, Rizel.
No, I was just gonna say I just kept saying yeah. But also like, thanks for being vulnerable, Jay Eck, for like just letting us know. other question was going to be, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I think probably flying, just being able to move around above everyone else and just kind of, or even just levitating from the couch to the kitchen. That'd be pretty cool.
That is cool. I would want to no, not time travel. That seems stressful. I would want to.
Time travel would be nuts.
Time travel would be insane. Way too much stress, too much problems.
I want to go back and see what was going on with the Egyptians or something.
Oh, that's true. Like, how did y'all really make those pyramids?
Yeah.
Okay.
But imagine you change something there and then the pyramids no longer exist in 2023.
Oh, true. I ruined everything.
Got to make sure not to talk to anybody. Just be a fly.
My point exactly. Time travel is way too stressful.
Okay. Second to last question is, what's your favorite meme or viral video?
I don't really know for that one.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. What about you? Do you have a favorite?
I wasn't sure, but the first one that came to my mind was LeBron James. LeBron James. That was the first one that came to my mind. Well, yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite one.
Me neither. Why did I write this question? I didn't have an answer ready. I don't know. I like a lot of them. So I will think about it for next stream, because I'm like, someone's probably gonna ask me. Okay. Last question is, what is your favorite Beyonce song? Or if you don't like Beyonce, what's your favorite song?
I'm not even sure. I do like Beyonce, but I'm not sure that I have a go-to.
Yeah, there's a lot of good songs.
Yeah, in terms of other movies, like I'm getting into like EDM and stuff right now. And there's this good guy on YouTube called like Raymore. He does like these hour-long videos in like these crazy, beautiful places, and it's wild.
Ooh, so he's like playing. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So he's like DJing in like the mountains or something. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or like this tropical area with like this crazy backdrop, like the sky and the sun and water.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, it's sick.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm also just taking in the feedback from people in the chat. It was a bit much. Okay, I think maybe like DWNs and stuff like that are still really new to people. So that's good feedback for me to know. Like, maybe in the beginning we like define some of these things so people can know. But Discord said, congrats, folks. It's been a great presentation. Yeah, great job, Anthony.
Thank you, Seni.
Amazing. Yeah. That's all for me. I don't know if either you or Ace have like any last words that you want to say before I wrap up.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just I'm glad a lot of people ask questions, let it beat, and for people that found it overwhelming as well. I think JTech, the vulnerability is very much appreciated. Like for myself and Rizel as well, also learning about this entire thing as we go with the rest of the community. So it's a safe space. We're always like available to answer questions, help where we can. So do not hesitate, and I appreciate that you did not. I think Lena also wanted to mention like we're watching this. If you still have any questions after this, please Anthony's on Discord. I'm on Discord. Everyone is on Discord. So we'd love to answer your questions as well. And thank you for staying with us and having a good time as well. I had fun. I'm not sure if you guys also had fun.
I do have one question too for you guys in the chat. How do you guys feel about that integration? Like when my application is hosted, you would have your decentralized identity and you would store all of your data yourself. But then also in my centralized server would be that vector database, so that you could have the intelligence layer. Like to me, in my application at least, the decentralized web node is like the storage and communication mechanism layer, but I need like the vector database for like the intelligent kind of data layer as well.
Yeah, good question to the chat. It looks like they're typing. Let me see. TBD discussions.
Because like
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna answer from like two perspectives. From if I'm just like a regular non-techie user. I think so. Is there echo Rizel? Probably mute for a sec.
Sorry.
Not sure. All right, no worries. Yeah, okay, that's better. I was gonna say if like a regular user, I might not like necessarily completely mind. Like knowing that the data is just available on my end and also like the intelligence is being processed. But maybe as I get more technical, I'm like wondering why you have that that process metadata, like the content itself on your own information, because it doesn't feel private anymore for me, because like you also have a copy of it technically. So I guess being able to move that eventually to a decentralized storage, or me being able to, even if I'm hosting my own vector, then probably presenting some kind of like endpoint for it. So it's still like my own service, but you're making use of it, at least spending when you're able to store the vectors in like a DW and stuff like that. That would
Yeah,
be
do you
my
think that
that
would
would be
be
my
like a
thoughts.
better option instead of like having my one host application? Like the option would
Hosting
be,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, like I could host the application for you in a different cloud, or it could also be like a small device maybe that either like there's an open source version for, but also like a paid version for, where like you buy the
Mhm.
device and then it's like your vector database is on there and your DWN server as well, maybe.
Yeah, true. Which begs the question, like curiously, because I've not done a lot of work with vectors, but imagine there's like an open source like ChromaDB SaaS, software as a service, and you have to like create your own account on that space, and they just provide the endpoint or whatever to connect that vector to your application. Would that be like a plug and play solution for you, where you absolutely have to host nothing?
Yeah, yeah, it could be.
Ah,
But
okay.
still, at the end of the day, like the data is in somebody else's cloud.
At the end of the day, well, yeah,
But still, I guess it's trade-offs to everything,
yeah,
obviously.
I get you. I think we have a bunch of comments. So.
Yeah, CSU Wildcat, I guess, was commenting on like the vector database part, and he said we can add hooks so it pipes things that arrive in the DWN to the vector database app side. And then he also mentioned we have two ways of setting things up: URL pointers in the protocols directly pointing at the webhook style URLs, and WebSocket subscription, so you can add to the DWN from another application.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. I do want to wrap up just in the interest of time. I know it's during the
Oh,
workday for
yeah.
you. Like this is our workday, so we could do this all day. But during the workday for you, so I don't want to like interrupt too much. But I really appreciate you coming on to share like how you've been building with Web5 and just even building with Web5 in the first place. And I think this is a very cool app. I'm excited to see where it goes. I do want to highlight to people that are watching, like if you do want to contribute, go ahead to github.com/Natonomy/Natonomy. That's where the repository is,
Yeah.
and interact. And then one last thing I wanted to say is thank you again. Like what Ace was saying, thank you for being vulnerable on the parts that don't make sense. Don't even think that I'm like, there's still stuff I'm learning. I'm not an expert at all, but I think that's a good highlight for us to maybe like in the beginning do like a definitions or some type of like introductory part to get people like more accustomed to this, because it's a different paradigm and a different way of thinking. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate the platform.
All right, cool. I will let you all go now. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Cheers.